Jaya 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 Gita Chandra Jaya Guru Bhakta Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Guru Bhakta Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Guru Bhakta ज्ञानतमञ्जस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथं वितन्तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठभूतले भवपादचित्तये श्रीविराजने स्वामिने सुभक्तादास विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठभूतले श्रुते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारणे विशेष श्रीवादिकाश्चर्य मोखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदेवतारकं Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 7, chapter 7, text 151. So today we are going to complete this section. So we remember how Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu changed the minds of the Mayavadi sannyasis after he recited, he gave the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra. So this Vedanta Sutra, it's discussed again and again in various books, Srimad Bhagavatam in particular, and I mean in an elaborate way. Here, like the main understanding is given, but then Srimad Bhagavatam in the purports, please never do what one devotee told me she will do. She will just read the verses. She will not read the purport. Okay? If you don't read the purport, you'll understand nothing. I was very upset when some devotee suggested that they will only print his translation and they will print many books and distribute by the million. And for us, it's better you don't print at all. So don't do this. Read only the verses and skip the purports. The purports are the explanation to the verse. I'm not going to say it again. Actually, whatever I'm maybe saying, I'm just saying it once because the same thing is repeated again and again in different places in Prabhupada's books. Text 151. तबे सब सन्यासी महाप्रभु के लाया भिक्षा करे लेना शबे madhye vishaya. After this, all the sannyasis took the Lord into their midst, and thus they all took their meal together. So we have read this 151. How Shichare Mahaprabhu, then he sat among them and he took prasad. Otherwise, he's not interested to eat. Remember that when a sannyasi goes accept bhiksha, right? He's not dependent on that household or whoever's donating or whoever's inviting him. They are not dependent. So it's not that Mahaprabhu was hungry. So every day, because sannyasis don't cook. So every day, somebody will invite for prasad. And Mahaprabhu was very choosy. Okay, today we use this word choosy, right? Choosy meaning that he will eat only from the house of a pure devotee. So when he was invited by this Brahmana who suddenly appeared and invited. So this Brahmana was inviting all the sannyasis. So actually I couldn't get this line now because it was a Brahmana who invited Mahaprabhu. Anyway, just find it. Somebody has to find it. It was a Brahmana who invited Mahaprabhu for prasad. It was not exactly that the Mayavadis who invited him. Do we remember the story? How Mahaprabhu came there?
Yes, Mataji. One Brahmana
Where is
had
it?
invited all the sannyasis.
Where is it?
Okay, I'm checking, Mataji.
Yeah, some Brahmana had invited Mahaprabhu, right? Because the Mayavadi sannyasis were criticizing Mahaprabhu. And yeah, how long, this is text 50, how long can we tolerate the blasphemy of critics against your conduct? We should give up our lives rather than hear such blasphemy. The Mayavadi sannyasis are all criticizing your holiness. We cannot tolerate hearing such criticism, for this blasphemy breaks our hearts. What? Yeah, text 52. See, lucky I've got some memory left in me. Otherwise, I forget everything. While Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar were thus talking with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he only smiled slightly and remained silent. At that time, a Brahmana came there to meet the Lord. The Brahmana immediately fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and requested him to accept his proposal in a joyful mood. My dear Lord, I have invited all the sannyasis of Benares to my home. My desires will be fulfilled if you also accept my invitation. Purport. This Brahmana knew that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the only Vaishnava sannyasi in Benares at that time, and all the others were Mayavadis. It is the duty of a grihastha to sometimes invite sannyasis to take food at his home. This grihastha Brahmana wanted to invite all the sannyasis to his house, but he also knew that it would be very difficult to induce Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to accept such an invitation because the Mayavadi sannyasis would be present. Therefore, he fell down at his feet and fervently appealed to the Lord to be compassionate and grant his request. Thus, he humbly submitted his desire. My dear Lord, I know that you never mix with other sannyasis, but please be merciful unto me and accept my invitation. Purport. An Acharya or great personality of the Vaishnava school is very strict in his principles. But although he's as hard as a thunderbolt, sometimes he's as soft as a rose. Thus, actually, he's independent. He follows all the rules and regulations strictly, but sometimes he slackens this policy. It was known that Lord Chaitanya never mixed with the Mayavadi sannyasis. Yet he conceded to the request of the Brahmana, as stated in the next verse. Lord Chaitanya smiled and accepted the invitation of the Brahmana. He made this gesture to show his mercy to the Mayavadi sannyasi. Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar appealed to the lotus feet of the Lord regarding their grief at the criticism of him by the sannyasis in Benares. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu merely smiled, yet he wanted to fulfill the desires of his devotees. And the opportunity came when the Brahmana came to request him to accept his invitation to be present in the midst of the other sannyasis. This coincidence was made possible by the omnipotence of the Lord, meaning Mahaprabhu himself inspired that Brahmana to invite him. Because then he'll meet those sannyasis. So, some excuse has to be there. It's not that, Mahaprabhu is going to walk down the street and suddenly bump into the Mayavadi sannyasis. So the whole incident was very nicely arranged, so that they could have a meeting place. The Brahmana knew that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never went to anyone else's house. Yet here it is. Yet due to inspiration from the Lord, he earnestly requested him to accept this invitation. The next day, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house of that Brahmana, he saw all the sannyasis of Benares sitting there. So this is what happened. So Mahaprabhu was actually in the house of a Brahmana. So in this verse 151. After this, all the sannyasis took the Lord into their midst, and thus they all took their meal together. Previously, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had neither mixed nor talked with the Mayavadi sannyasis, but now he took lunch with them. It is to be concluded that when Lord Chaitanya induced them to chant Hare Krishna and excused them for their offenses, they were purified, and therefore there was no objection to taking lunch or Bhagavad Prasadam with them, although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that the food was not offered to the deities. So anyway, we have to put two and two together there. The Brahmana invited Mahaprabhu, so he didn't offer the food. But Mahaprabhu, he recited Hare Krishna, he preached Bhagavad Katha, so therefore, Mayavadi sannyasis do not worship the deity, or if they do so, they generally worship the deity of Lord Shiva or the Panchupasana, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Durga Devi, Ganesh, and Surya. Here we do not find any mention of the demigods of Vishnu, and yet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted food in the midst of the sannyasis on the basis that they had chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and that he had excused their offenses. Sometimes devotees, they criticize here in the temple. They say, who's cooking in your kitchen? You have paid workers, So, because preachers, they criticize householders. Why do you go to a restaurant and eat? Why do you go and eat Jain food? Or the Jain, devotees that you have to eat Jain food, Why do you do this? So preachers criticize them, and they criticize back the devotees. In your own temple, they are paid workers, right? Or everywhere there are paid workers. So we are saying, so here the answer is given. Answer is given that on Hare Krishna land, there is 24 hours kirtan. All right? So you need not be in any anxiety that cooked food in any ISKCON temple is not prasadam. So yes, the deity's Mahaprasad is very special. Very, very special in the sense that there is very strict rules, extremely strict rules. But there are also rules in any of our kitchen, in any of the kitchen. And if there is any flaw, then those flaws are made up. Like now you can hear Hare Krishna Mahamantra from the temple you're able to hear. all right? From 4:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock in the night, there is Kirtan in the temple. So this is what Mahaprabhu is saying here, and why this answer was given is on the basis of this verse 151. So Mahaprabhu, he chanted Hare Krishna and he preached this Alok Katha. So therefore, so it's very important to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, because all the intricacies of spiritual life is discussed. Text 152. All right, who wants to read? Shashi, you want to read? 152.
Hare Krishna. After taking lunch among the Mayavadi sannyasis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gaurasundara, returned to his residence. Thus the Lord performs his wonderful pastimes. Translation.
Yeah.
Hearing the argument.
Yeah. 1 minute. Huh? After taking lunch among the Mayavadi sannyasis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gaur Sundar. So see this verse here. Hen Chitra Lila Kare Goranga Sundar. Known as Gaur Sundar, returned to his residence. Thus the Lord performs his wonderful pastime. Isn't it wonderful what he did? He went to Mayavadis, right? Sat at the, washing place. And then he ended up sitting and eating with all of them. Right? Yeah. Go on.
Chandrasekhar Tapan Mishra Are Sanatana Suni Dekhi Anandita Sabha Kare Mana. Translation. Hearing the arguments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and seeing his victory, Chandrasekhar, Tapan Mishra, and Sanatan Goswami were all extremely pleased. Purport. Here is an example of how a sannyasi should preach. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Varanasi, he went there alone, not with a big party. Locally, however, he made friendships with Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra, and Sanatan Goswami also came to see him. Therefore, although he did not have many friends there, due to his sound preaching and his victory in arguing with the local sannyasis on the Vedanta philosophy, he became greatly famous in that part of the country, as explained in the next words.
So this is how Prabhupada preached, following the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went all alone to America, right? With nobody. He went all alone. And there he made friendship. He made disciples, actually. He made disciples among the followers, among the Americans. And they became his followers, and then he expanded. Yeah, go on.
प्रभु के देखिते ऐसे सकाल सन्यासी प्रभु हारे प्रशंसा करे सभा वाराणसी. Translation. Many Mayavadi sannyasis of Varanasi came to see the Lord after this incident, and the entire city praised him. Varanasi Puri Ela Shri Krishna Chaitanya Puri Saha Sarva Luka Hela Mahadhanya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the city of Varanasi, and all of its people were very thankful. Laksha Laksha Loka Aisa Prabhu ke dikhite Mahabidhi Hele Dware Nare Praviste. The crowd at this door of his residence was so great that it numbered hundreds of thousands. Prabhu Yebe Yana Vishwavare Darshana Lakshe Lakshe Loka Asi Mile Sei Sthana. When the Lord went to visit the temple of Vishwasvara, hundreds of thousands of people assembled to see him. Purport. The important point in this verse is that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly visited the temple of Swara, Lord Shiva at Varanasi. Vaishnavas generally do not visit a demigod's temple, but here we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly visited the temple of Vishwaswara, who was the predominating deity of Varanasi. Generally, Mayavadi sannyasis and worshippers of Lord Shiva live in Varanasi. But how is it that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who took the part of Vaishnava sannyasi, also visited the Vishwaswara temple? The answer is that a Vaishnava does not behave impudently towards the demigod. A Vaishnava gives proper respect to all, although he never accepts a demigod to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Brahma Samhita, there are mantras offering obeisance to Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, the Sun God, and Lord Ganesha, as well as the Lord Vishnu, all of whom are worshipped by the impersonalists as Panchopasana. In the temple, impersonalists install deities of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, the Sun God, Goddess Durga, and sometimes Lord Brahma also. And this system is continuing at present in India under the guise of the Hindu religion. Vaishnavas can also worship all these demigods, but only on the principles of Brahma Samhita, which is recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We may note in this connection the mantras for worshipping Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Goddess Durga, the Sun God, and Ganesha are described in the Brahma Samhita. Shrishti Shritri Pralaya Sadhana Sakitra Eka Shaiva Yasya Bhuvnani Vivari Durga Ichanu Puram Api Yasya Cha Shesnata Sa Govindam Adipurusham Tam Aham Bhajami. The external potency, Maya, who is the nature of the shadow of the city, spiritual potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose will Durga conduct herself. BS 5.44. Shiram yatha dadhi vikara vishesha yoga संजायते नाही तथा पृथक असि इथो यह संभूतम
भूतमपि तथा संप्रतितः
यह संभूतम अपि तथा संपुते कर्यात् गोविदम अदुपुरुषाम ताम अहम भाजामि. Milk is transformed into curd by the actions of acid, yet the effect curd is neither the same nor different from its cause. For example, milk, I adore the primeval Lord, Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a similar transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. BS.
Action.
Should I stop, Mataji?
Yeah, so these are series of, just a minute before we get lost. So, yeah, so this is Lord Chaitanya who's visiting the demigod temple. So Prabhupada is explaining that Mahaprabhu is not like usually Vaishnavas, they don't visit the temples of demigods. But they make a point that they are not interested in material enjoyment. So therefore they don't visit the temple of demigods. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here is showing that we need not be impudent towards the demigods. So therefore he's paying his respect. Like we know in Bhubaneswar there is the Shivlinga, right?
Lingaraj temple.
Lingaraj in Bhubaneswar. And next to Lingaraj is Jagannath Puri. So the devotees, all the devotees, everybody go to Lingaraj, what's that? Lingaraj. So they go there. They pay their respect, then they go to Jagannath Puri. So we are following the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then Prabhupada now is describing the position of the devas. So these are series of verses from Brahma Samhita, describing Sun God, Ganesh, Durga, Shiva, Brahma, yeah, everybody. Okay, somebody else can read now. Anupama, you want to read?
Hare Krishna. भास्वान् यथास्मा शकलेषु निजेषु तेजा स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयति अपि तद्वदत्र ब्रह्माय ईश जगदन्तविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom the separated subjective portion Brahma receives its power for the regulation of the mundane world, just as the sun manifests a portion of its own light in all the effulgent gems that bear such names as Suryakanta. Brahma Samhita 5.49. यत्पादपल्लवयुगमविनिध्याय कुम्भ दण्ड्वे प्रणामसमेस्य गणाधिराज विज्ञानविहीनकमलमस्ति तदत्रायस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda. Ganesha always holds his Lord's feet upon a pair of tremuli protruding from his elephant head in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all obstacles on the path of progress in the worlds. Brahma Samhita 5.50. यच्चाक्षुरेषा सविता सकलग्रहणां राजा समस्तसुरमूर्तिरशेषतेज यस्याज्ञा भ्रमति संहृतः कालचक्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. The sun, full of infinite effulgence, who is the king of all the planets and the image of the good soul, is like the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. Brahma Samhita 5.56. All the demigods are servants of Krishna. They are not equal with Krishna. Therefore, even if one goes to a temple of the Panchopasana, as mentioned above, one should not accept the deities as they are accepted by the impersonalists. All of them are to be accepted as personal demigods, but they all serve the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shankaracharya, for example, is understood to be an incarnation of Lord Shiva, as described in the Padma Purana. He propagated the Mayavad philosophy under the order of the Supreme Lord. We have already discussed this point in text 114 of this chapter. Tandra dosha nahi tenho agyakari dosha. Shankaracharya is not at fault, for he has thus covered the real purpose of the Vedas under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Lord Shiva, in the form of a Brahmana, Shankaracharya, preached the false philosophy of Mayavad, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu nevertheless said that since he did it on the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there was no fault on his part. Tandra dosha nahi. We must offer
Yeah.
respects.
Yeah, 1 minute. So now here, Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that in Panchopasana, so the Mayavadis, how do they worship the deities, these 5 deities? What is their idea? What do they?
Mayavadi,
How do they worship these deities, this Panchopasana? What is their upasana?
Mataji, I'm guessing, do they see it as different energies? The sun energy, the obstacle removing
I
energy
think
and all.
they're all one. I think they're all one. That's how they see it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they think, it doesn't matter whether you worship this one, that one, that one,
We are all
ultimately-
one.
Right. So here, Prabhupada is saying that Vaishnavas, they accept all of them as personal demigods, but all serve the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To accept them as persons, whereas the Mayavadi just see them in an impersonal way, where they think behind this personality, or maybe it's energy, they exhibit a particular energy, but finally they're all one. And so Prabhupada is saying that devotees, no, They see the demigods as persons, real person. They exist. Yeah, go on.
We must offer proper respects to all the demigods. If one can offer respects even to an ant, why not to the demigods? One must always know, however, that no demigod is equal to or above the Supreme Lord. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sababhritya. Only Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all others, including the demigods such as Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Goddess Durga, and Ganesha, are his servants. Everyone serves the purpose of the Supreme Godhead. And what to speak of such small and insignificant living entities as ourselves? We are surely eternal servants of the Lord. The Mayavad philosophy maintains that the demigods, the living entities, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are all equal. It is therefore a most foolish misrepresentation of Vedic knowledge. Correct.
So, here, so this is what we just discussed. Everyone serve the purpose of the Supreme Personality. We are surely eternal servants of the Lord. The Mayavad philosophy maintains that the demigods, the living entities, and the Supreme Person of Godhead are all equal. Because that's why they're all one. So you got an idea of what's the story with the Panchopasana? Is it clear to everybody? You understand what is Panchopasana?
Mataji, basically what I understood is that Mayavadis worship or try to focus their attention on any form, basically, and then because they feel everything is actually one, including themselves, and that means they're just trying to focus their attention so that they can become one with the one. This is what I've understood, Mataji.
Yes. And demigod worshippers are different from these Mayavadi who are doing Panchopasana. Are you able to understand this? So when you go around, even in Vrindavan, you find temples, very happily. I walk in, oh, I didn't know that Mayavadis, they also have deities. So happy. And then finally understood that actually they believe these demigods are simply all one. They're not persons. They have taken a form now and then they will dissolve and they will become one. Everything will become one. Whereas accepting that each deity is separate and have certain powers, like Indra, Surya, Ganesh. You see in Ganesh Chaturthi, what do? Those who are Marathi here, anybody's Marathi here. What do? Ganesh Chaturthi. What do? Shikala. What do? Tell me.
गणपति की पूजा करते फिर विसर्जित कर देते पानी में
Yeah, they take the deity, right? They take the deity. So this is impersonalism. They call the deity, so they make a form. All right, they call the deity. Then they put all their prayers. Give me this, give me this, give me that. And then what do? They send off the deities and then take the form and put in water. And unfortunately, in recent years, they were doing it in this plastic deity, which doesn't dissolve in water. Originally, it was made of clay. So it will dissolve in the ocean. Then the municipality next day, what do? They have to take their brushes and they have to gather all the deities and throw them in the dustbin. Right? This is how you do worship. The most shocking thing. Now they have stopped all this at home. And then they say it has to be what they call now, your deity has to be eco-friendly. All right. So, very pathetic, very pathetic. And see, there are genuine devotees there. There are genuine devotees among the Ganesh Bhakta. They are genuine devotees. But they don't know. It's all mixed up. Completely mixed up. So Prabhupada has come and now he's removing, sorting out all this confusion. I mean, otherwise, how will I know? I was watching this, what's going on? What is this?
So,
And ask-
Mataji, in our family, when we go for something and then they worship a particular deity, okay, parents, in-laws, then what should be our role be?
your voice was breaking. I couldn't hear.
So, okay, just one second. So, Mataji, suppose it happens with us, right? I go to my mother's place, I go to my in-laws' place, and then my in-laws are Jains. So they will chant the Jain mantra on something, some occasion. So what should my role be? I sit and chant with them.
What do they chant?
Namo Aryantanam, Namo Siddhanam, that the five, about the acharyas.
What does it mean? You have to tell me what it means.
It means that there are five acharyas to which they do pranam. That's all it is. It is the Jain acharyas. Namo Aryantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryanam, Namo Chayanam, Namo Loi Savisaham. So one by one. So suppose like it's going to happen with me.
We must offer proper respects to all the demigods. If one can offer respects even to an end, why not to the Jain acharyas? Right? This is what we are reading here. If one can offer respects even to an end, why not to the demigods? Or who they have something in them. They may not be completely on the path. One must always know, however, that no demigod is equal to or above the Supreme Lord. Meaning you need to know who they are. All right? So we are offering respects. See, this is good for us. To offer respect to others is good for us. We may not, outwardly bow down, on the floor, to everybody, but we should have an attitude of respect to everyone. Even the children, right?
Mataji, after I have got married, just to carry on the tradition, I have to get Ganpati. If not for 5 days, I have it for 1.5 days. It's a lot of, to have Ganpati and to keep all the protocols correctly, like we as devotees, knowing fully well that demigods take offenses. They are very easy to please and they take offenses very easily. But well, I'm doing it because it's a tradition. It's something which my father-in-law started. My husband want to carry it. My husband says, you go and you serve at the temple for years. You can't serve at home. So, well, yes, I am offering respects. I am offering doing everything. I make prasad. I offered it to my Lord. I offered it to Ganpati afterwards. It is served to so many people. Well, I don't know whether I am offending someone or I do it in the faith that, well, Ganpati's blessings are required to continue with my devotional service. So some way he is a Vignaharta. So I do not want to offend a demigod that way. And I also need his blessings to make my path a little safer as I walk towards the Lord, is what I think.
यत्पादपल्लवयुगं विनधाय कुम्भः द्वन्द्वे प्रणामसमये स गणाधिराजः विघ्नान् विहन्तुमलमस्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. I worship the Supreme Pratanival Lord Govinda. Ganesh always holds his lotus feet upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all obstacles on the path of progress in the three worlds. So we worship Ganesh through recitation of this verse, right? So now if other family members, they are worshiping the devas, and we do the way we describe, it's okay. But the thing is that we limit this worship with those who are followers of Ganesh, meaning if the family members, they are followers of Ganesh, so the invitees should be the followers of Ganesh. The thing is that when devotees, they start sending out invitation to other devotees, come to my home. Today is Ganesh Chaturthi. I'm observing the festival for so many days. You also come and participate. So why drag other devotees in this function? Like, we are doing it by force to please our family members. But when we make it a social program, like in the devotee community, we make it a social program, what is the necessity? That's the only thing. Otherwise, to keep, it's all mixed. So, okay. Some people, they have to, in their house, meat is being cooked, but still they're living in that house. They are vegetarian, they may be initiated, but meat is being cooked. We are all mixed. So if somebody is worshipping the devas and we have to keep the family happy, so lucky that you are the one who's cooking, and therefore you are offering first to your deities, Gornitai, and then you are offering to Ganesh, who's so happy he's getting Mahaprasad, right? But we have to remember that every puja is also a social function. And when we mix up, our duty, which are like obligatory, we say, due to family connection, and we mix that up with our satsanga, which is pure devotional service, then there is gradually it becomes a misunderstanding among the devotees. It's not required. That's the only thing. It's not required. We focus on our pure satsanga. So the main thing among us is like any puja that we do, even, any festival, the devotees, they come, yes, the abhishek, but what more do they want? Then they want to be with other devotees. The socializing part is also part of any festival. So anyway, this is, I would say, my opinion. So you just take it like that. It's my opinion. All right, let's go on. 161. Ratri divase lokera shuni kolahala Varanasi chari prabhu aila nila chala. Because the city of Varanasi was always full of tumultuous crowds, Shichira Mahaprabhu, after sending Sanatana to Vrindavan, returned to Jagannath Puri. E lila kahiba age vistara kariya, Sangshepa kahila nihan prasanga paya.
Mataji, you've missed some verses.
Oh, you missed
Oh,
some
really?
verses.
Which verse did I miss?
You have to
150,
start 158.
158,
We
159.
just completed 157. You have to
Oh,
say
wait.
158.
Oh, is it that my page turned? 150, 158. Snana karite bahana ganga tire tahani sakala lokahaya maham bhire. Whenever Lord Chaitanya went to the banks of the Ganges to take his bath, big crowds of many hundreds of thousands of people assembled there. Bahutuli Prabhu Bale Bala Hari 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 Dwani Kare Loka Swarga Matya Bhari. Whenever the crowds were too great, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood up, raised his hands and chanted Hari Hari, to which all the people responded, filling both the land and sky with the vibration Hari Hari. So beautiful. Radhanath Maharaj, he really likes, right? Hari Hari. Radhanath Maharaj is like this personification of Mahaprabhu. When he would dance, the devotees would say, here we are seeing Mahaprabhu dancing. We are so fortunate. We are all so fortunate that, we are we have the opportunity to see with our own eyes followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 160. Lokanishthariya Prabhura Chalite Hailamana Vrindavane Pathaila Shri Sanatana. I was wondering where Sanatana Goswami appeared from, so I missed some verses. After thus delivering the people in general, the Lord desired to leave Varanasi. After instructing Sanatana Goswami, he sent him towards Vrindavan. Purport. The actual purpose of Lord Chaitanya's stay at Varanasi after coming back from Vrindavan was to meet Sanatana Goswami and teach him. Sanatana Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after the Lord's return to Varanasi, where the Lord taught him for 2 months about the intricacies of Vaishnava philosophy and Vaishnava activities. So we're going to read all this. We're going to study all this, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya through Sanatana Goswami. And you can read it also in Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, a very important book. When Sanatana Goswami went to Vrindavan, there were no temples. The city was lying vacant like an open field. Sanatana Goswami sat down on the bank of the Yamuna, and after some time, he gradually constructed the first temple. Then other temples were constructed, and now the city is full of temples, numbering about 5,000. Do you know what is the first temple Sanatana Goswami built?
Radha Madan Mohan.
Yeah, Madan Mohan. 161. Because the city of Varanasi was always full of tumultuous crowds. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after sending Sanatana to Vrindavan, returned to Jagannath Puri. All right. See, Mahaprabhu is a preacher. All right. Right now, he's in the role of a preacher. So therefore, he's in crowds. But actually, Mahaprabhu wants his own, what we call today, space. Right? So he went to Jagannath Puri. He wanted to be alone. He didn't want to be among the crowd. Next 162. E lila kahi bhage vistara kariya, sangshepe kahi nanihan prasanga paya. I have here given a brief account of these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, but later I shall describe them in an extensive way. So we are looking forward to this. 163. E panchatattva rupe Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna nama prema diya vishwa kaila dhanya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates of the Panchatattva distributed the holy name of the Lord to invoke love of Godhead throughout the universe. And thus the entire universe was thankful. Okay, purport. Who wants to read? Rashmi?
Yes, Mataji. Here it is said that Lord Chaitanya made the entire universe thankful to him for propagating the Sankirtan movement with his associates. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already sanctified the entire universe by his presence 500 years ago, and therefore anyone who attempts to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sincerely, following footsteps and following the instructions of the Acharyas will successfully be able to preach the holy name of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra all over the universe. There are some foolish critics who say that Europeans and Americans cannot be offered sannyas. But here we find that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the Sankirtan movement all over the universe. For preaching work, sannyasis are essential. These critics think that only Indians or Hindus should be offered sannyas to preach. But their knowledge is practically nil. Without sannyasis, the preaching work will be impeded. Therefore, under the instruction of Lord Chaitanya and with the blessings of his associates, there should be no discrimination in this matter. But people in all parts of the world should be trained to preach and given sannyas so that the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement will expand boundlessly. We do not care about the criticism of fools. We shall go on with our work and simply depend on the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, the Panchatattva.
Yeah. So here Prabhupada is saying that why take sannyas? Why take sannyas? Because people, they accept the authority of sannyas. And Prabhupada, now remember, he was 70 years old. He went to America. And in India, when he asked the householders, give me one son, nobody wanted to give him a son, right? He said, I will make him a brahmachari, I will teach him, but nobody wanted to give him a boy. So he went to America, and there's so many youngsters came to him. And they were seekers, they wanted to know. And some of them, he made them sannyasis. And these are the sannyasis who set up and established the Hare Krishna movement of ISKCON. They were young European and American boys. And the girls also, they partnered with their husbands. And they spread this movement. So everybody was engaged. But if you read Prabhupada Lilamrita, they were young boys. And Prabhupada took huge risk. He gave them sannyas. Very huge risk. He gave them sannyas. Many fell down from their position. But by Mahaprabhu's grace, many survived. And today they are still our gurus. Jayapataka Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Swami, well, he's Indian, but Tama Krishna Goswami Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj, Shivram Maharaj, Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, Jayadvaita Swami, they survived. So it was meaning that they are already from their past lives, these devotees, they are already sannyasi. Otherwise, at young age, I mean, speaking of the 20s. The 20s. How old was your Guru Maharaj when he took sannyas, Anupama? How old was
He
he?
was in his 33 or something. I may be wrong, Mataji.
Yeah,
He was in 30s, this much I remember.
yeah, early 30s, okay?
Yes.
So Prabhupada, he gave sannyasi to young boys because he had to preach and establish this movement. For preaching works, sannyasis are essential. These critics think that only Indians or Hindus should be offered sannyas to preach, but their knowledge is practically nil. Without sannyasi, the preaching work will be impeded. Nobody takes you seriously. Now, so many ladies here, we are preachers. How many people take us seriously? Your friends, those who like you, right? So, but a sannyasi, what is the position of a sannyasi? How people readily accept. It's a very essential, well, as we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu will teach everybody, sannyasis including how to behave, etc., etc. But here the principle is there. Without sannyasis, the preaching work will be impeded. Therefore, under the instruction of Lord Chaitanya and with the blessings of his associate, there should be no discrimination in this matter. But people in all parts of the world should be trained to preach and given sannyas, so that the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement will expand boundlessly. We do not care about the criticism of fools. God is putting in his purpose. We do not care about the criticism of fools. We shall go on with our work and simply depend on the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, the Panch Tattva. You know, to preach, to expand a movement, you need so much courage, you need knowledge, and you need huge humility. This will be discussed. Text 165. Mathura te pathaila rupa sanatana Duisena pati kaila bhakti pracharana. Lord Chaitanya dispatched the two generals Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami to Vrindavan to preach the bhakti cult. All right, who wants to read now? Who has a Devahuti? Devahuti?
Yes, Mataji.
Oops. You want to read?
Yes.
Oh my God,
Text
I want to finish this. Yeah,
164.
we'll finish.
Text 164. Mathurate pathaila rup sanatana duishena pathi koila bhakti pracharana. Translation. Lord Chaitanya dispatched the two generals Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami to Vrindavan to preach the bhakti cult. Purport. When Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami went to Vrindavan, there was not a single temple. But by their preaching, they were gradually able to construct various temples. Sanatan Goswami constructed the Madan Mohan temple and Rup Goswami constructed the Govindji temple. Similarly, their nephew Jiva Goswami constructed the Radha Damodar temple. Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami constructed the Radha Raman temple. Sri Lokanath Goswami constructed the Gokulananda temple. And Shyamananda Goswami constructed the Shyamasundara temple. In this way, many temples were gradually constructed. For preaching, construction of temples is also necessary. The Goswamis not only engaged in writing books but also constructed temples because both are needed for preaching work. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the cult of his Sankirtan movement to spread all over the world. Now that the International Society of Krishna Consciousness has taken up this task of preaching the cult of Lord Chaitanya, its members should not only construct temples in every town and village of the globe, but also distribute the books that have already been written and further increase the number of books. Both distribution of books and construction of temples must continue side by side in parallel lines.
So this is Srila Prabhupada's instruction. Construct temples and distribute books. You know, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he did this. He constructed temples, 20 temples he constructed in India. And beautiful, magnificent, beautiful temples. And he distributed books by the millions. He did just that. You know, when he left, can you imagine 20 temples, the congregation, the temple devoted, the congregation from 20 temples came for the last Samadhi in Vrindavan. Can you imagine? Beside everybody else. Rivers of devotees, rivers. Should see, you know, when he was being taken. It was so amazing and glorious. It was like the devas came. You know? Actually, like the devas coming and sending him off. So, you know, our life should be like this. See, the gurus, the acharyas, they live their life and they also show us that one day we have to leave this body. Right? So how do we live our body? How do we live our lives? Here is given. We can be part of this. We can be part of this whole program. So one powerful person, somebody who is, I would say, selected by the Supreme Lord due to his own good qualities, his surrender to Krishna. So he's selected to lead others, right? And the others can be part of that mission. So the destination that the leader attains, the follower will also attain the same destination. So do our small part. We may not be able to, build many temples, but we can maintain the temple, right? We can utilize the temple for preaching. We can bring people to the temple. And we distribute the books. Here Prabhupada is saying very, very explicit instruction. The Goswami not only engaged in writing books, but also constructed temples because both are needed for preaching work. So they wrote books. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the cult of his Sankirtan movement to spread all over the world. Now that the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has taken up this task of preaching the cult of Lord Chaitanya, its members should not only construct temples in every town and village of the globe, but also distribute the books that have already been written, meaning Prabhupada's books, and further increase the number of books, meaning you can also write your own books, following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and further increase the number of books. Both distribution of books and construction of temples must continue side by side. Text 165. Nityananda Goswami Pathaila Godadesh Tenho Bhakti Pracharila Ashesha Vishesh. As Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were sent towards Mathura, so Nityananda Prabhu was sent to Bengal to preach extensively the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The name of Lord Nityananda is very famous in Bengal. Of course, even in Bombay, right? We find somebody sometime on the buses. I say it's written Nityananda. Of course, anyone who knows Lord Nityananda knows Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. But there are some misguided devotees who stress the importance of Lord Nityananda more than that of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is not good. Nor should Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu be stressed more than Lord Nityananda. The author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, left his home because of his brothers stressing the importance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu over that of Nityananda Prabhu. Actually, one should offer respect to the Panch Tattva without such foolish discrimination, not considering Nityananda Prabhu to be greater, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be greater, or Advaita Prabhu to be greater. The respect should be offered equally. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. All devotees of Lord Chaitanya or Nityananda are worshipable persons. So we see, in our movement, like we observe the disappearance day of the acharyas, and somebody who's maybe prominent, and not only the gurus, the Diksha Guru, but sometimes one special devotee, we observe and glorify that person. This is part of our practices. Apane Dakshina Desha Karela Gamana Grame Grame Kehila Krishna Nama Pracharana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally went to South India, and he broadcast the holy name of Lord Krishna in every town and village. So Rupa and Sanatan were sent to Mathura, and Nityananda Prabhu was sent where?
Bengal.
Bengal.
Bengal. And Mahaprabhu, what did he do himself?
He went to south.
He went south. Okay. Setu bandha paryanta kaila bhaktira prachar. Krishna prema diha kaila sabara nishtara. Thus the Lord went to the southernmost tip of the Indian peninsula, known as Setu Bandh, Cape Comorin. Everywhere he distributed the bhakti cult and love of Krishna, and in this way he delivered everyone. Eta kahila pancha tatvera vyakhana ihara shravane hai chaitanya tattva gyan. I have thus explained the truth of the pancha tattva. One who hears this explanation increases in knowledge of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Panch Tattva is a very important factor in understanding Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are Sahajas who, not knowing the importance of the Panch Tattva, concoct their own slogans such as Bhajanitai Go Radhe Sham, Jappa Hare Krishna Hare Ram, or Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Ram, Shri Radhe Govinda. Such chants may be good poetry, sound very good, good poetry, but they cannot help us to go forward in devotional service. In such chant, there are also many discrepancies which need not be discussed here. Strictly speaking, when chanting the names of Panch Tattva, one should fully offer his obeisances. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. By such chanting, one is blessed with the competency to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offense. When chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one should also chant it fully. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. One should Hare Hare. One should not foolishly adopt any of the slogans concocted by imaginative devotees. If one actually wants to derive the effects of chanting, one must strictly follow the great acharyas. This is confirmed in the Mahabharata. Mahajano yena gata sapantha. The real path of progress is that which is traversed by great acharyas and authorities. So we have to be very careful. People like to make new mantras because it sounds very nice. You write your own poetry, and then poetry means song, and then song means it's propagated everywhere, right? Like popular songs on radio, on YouTube. So we can't do this. Why? Meaning it's good to speak like this, but Prabhupada said that even when you put together, Nitai Gaur, Radhe Sham, there are some discrepancies in this. When we say Prabhu Nityananda, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Shri Radhe Govinda, there's some discrepancy there. So poetry also has to be according to Tattva. Poetry cannot just be because it sounds good. It sounds sweet. Poetry should give knowledge. Like this Chaitanya Charitamrita is poetry. Shrimad Bhagavatam is poetry. Vyasadeva is referred to as Kavi, right? Lord Brahma is referred to as Adi Kavi. All right? But it's giving knowledge. Those who are illiterate in Shastra, they make up their own poetry. So that's why we are very, very careful. If we are to go somewhere and listen to some katha, so-called katha, we should know what the person is speaking. We should know what are these beautiful songs that he's singing. Like Anupama just right now told me, should I recite their mantra? So I say, what are they saying in that mantra? They sing obeisances to their acharyas. It's okay. Obeisances to their acharyas. It's okay. respectful to anyone, everyone. But if they would put this one, that one, and come up with some khichdi, so if it's a simple mantra, obeisances to Acharya, it's okay. This Kali Yuga is very dangerous, extremely dangerous. Text 169. I'm not speaking of danger only to your body, but to your soul. If you chant, you spend your life chanting mantras that has no goal, doesn't fulfill anything, no prayojan, and therefore you get nothing from it. While chanting the Panchtattva Mahamantra, one must chant the names of Sri Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Shivas with their many devotees. This is the process. Sri Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita, Tina Jana, Shrivas, Gadadhar, Adi, Yata, Bhakta Gana. So that's why when we recite Prema Dhavani in all our temples, we say, all glories to the assembled devotees. Bhakta Gana. Sabakara Pada Padme Koti Namaskar. Yeh Chete Chekahi Kichu Chaitanya Vihar. I again and again offer obeisances unto the Panch Tattva. Thus, I think that I will be able to describe something about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. So this is Krishna Das Kaviraj, who is offering obeisances at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the Sankirtan movement of love of Krishna throughout the entire world. And therefore, during his presence, he inspired the Sankirtan movement. Specifically, he sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami to Vrindavan and Nityananda to Bengal, and personally went to South India. In this way, he kindly left the National Society for Krishna Consciousness. The members of this society must always remember that if they stick to the regulative principles and preach sincerely according to the instructions of the Acharyas, surely they will have the profound blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and their preaching work will be successful everywhere throughout the world. Such a beautiful instruction. Right? You feel alive, right? Because we are so much part of it. We are all preaching, distributing books. And all of you here today, you are reading this Chaitanya Charitamrita because you have had some connection with the Sankirtan movement. That's why you are here regularly, patiently reading and understanding. All right, so we went very much over time. 15 minutes over time. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuyaiva cha
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.